Welcome to my new viewers, to my subscribers, welcome back. My name is Mike. This is my channel where I look at, review, and try different craps strategies. Thanks for joining. Hey everybody, it's Mike. Welcome back to my channel. Hey, I'm going to go ahead and have another roll here using the Hedgeless Horseman, and I wanted to go over that one more time. The last video I did a combination of Dallas Drawdown, Cliffhanger, and Hedgeless Horseman. And when I finally got to the point where I could play the Hedgeless Horseman, I wasn't quite comfortable with the way it should be played. I don't know if I played it actually the way it should be played. So I'm just going to do one session on just the Hedgeless Horseman again, the way that John showed it in his Pro Craps video, and we'll see how we can do. So basically, I'm going to start with a $100 don't pass bet, and I'm going to try to establish a point. Now, the first time I do it, I will not put any money up here in the lay, and we'll see how that works out. And obviously, I should have put money up in the lay, but that's okay. Let's go ahead and try this again. Okay, the point is a 9. The puck moves to the 9. Now, that's bet number 1 for this shooter. We try to limit the number of bets per shooter to 4. The first bet being the don't pass bet, followed up by 3 come bets. And if you recall, the come bet is going to be 1/4 of the size of the don't pass bet. So if you rolled a 7 right here, you would win your come bet. The come bet wins on 7 and 11. And you would win your don't pass because you're betting against the 9. You would win if a 7 rolls, you lose if a 9. So a 7 out, 0.7 out, you would win both. Let's go ahead and roll and see if we can't get this come bet to move up to a point or to a number. Okay, the come bet moved to the 10. We just rolled a 10. That come bet travels to the 10. This would be our third bet for this shooter, or the second come bet. We want to try to establish 3 come bets. Now, if a 7 rolled here, 7 or 11 wins in the come, 7 loses the bet that's on the 10. So these 2 bets cancel out. You win 25, you lose 25, and your result would be a positive 100. You would win the don't pass. So the 4-to-1 ratio seems to be the ratio that kind of makes sense. And if we can get this roll moving up to a number, I'll show you what happens if a 7 rolls with 2 come bets traveling up to the number. Okay, there's a 4. Now that come bet moved to the 4. We put our 4th and final bet for this shooter in the come. If a 7 rolls now, the come, $25 come bet wins. The $25 bet that just moved to the 4 loses. So those 2 cancel each other out. The $25 come bet that moved to the 10 loses. So that's a negative 25. But we win the don't pass, which is 100. Minus the 25, you still result in a positive $75 win. Let's see if we can't get him to travel to a bet to a number. It traveled to the 9, but the 9 was the bet that the don't pass bar was betting against. We wanted a 7 before the 9, so we lost our don't pass. We lost that $100. But that's the 4th bet for that shooter, so we're not going to chase this loss. We're not going to throw another $100 in the don't pass. We're going to leave these 3 come bets up, and we're going to try to dig ourselves out of this hole. So also remember, your bets that move from the come up to the numbers are on, and they're contract bets. We can't take them down, but they're on. So let's go ahead and see if we can't hit a 4, a 9, or a 10 on the come out roll. Well, that's the worst scenario possible. You hit the number that you're playing against. In that case, the 9. So we lost our don't pass, followed up by a 7 out on the come out roll, which wiped out all of our come bets that moved up. So that wiped everything out. We now have to start from scratch. So let's go ahead and put 100 in the don't pass. And let's go ahead and try to establish a point. 2 and 3 win in the don't pass. Okay, 7 and 11 lose. So we just made up 100 of our loss on that 2. Let's go ahead and roll. Okay, there's an 8. The point moves to the 8. Now, that's our first bet for this shooter. $25 in the come. I just realized this is still shooter number 1. And I'm playing this as if this was a new shooter. So since I've already started it as a new shooter, I'm going to play it as a new shooter. So this is our second bet, first come bet. 7 and 11 win in the come. So if that technically is my first come bet and my second for this shooter, then this come bet would be my third bet, or the second bet, the second come bet. There's a 9. So that come moves to the 9. I put my last bet, the fourth bet, or my third come bet on this shooter. And it moved, I'm sorry, it wins on a 7 or 11. Let's take a look at that. So here again, these two cancel each other out. The come bet wins 25. The bet on the 9 loses 25. And I end up with a positive 100 because I win in the don't pass. So early 7 outs with 1 or 2 or even 3 come bets moving up to numbers, you're still profitable. We still have $100 in the don't pass. Let's roll and get a number. That's a 12. There's a 6. So this technically is our second shooter. So we'll start and we'll play this like it's a new shooter. So we have our first bet, the don't pass bar. Our second bet will be the first come bet. And that's a quick 7 out. But that was exactly what we wanted. If you take a look at this. The $25 come bet wins on 7-11. The don't pass wins when a 7 hits before the number. So that gave us $125. So the early 7 outs is what you're kind of looking for. And that's what we got. So we have $100 don't pass. Let's go ahead and roll. There's a 9. This is shooter number 3. The first roll was a 9. That's the first bet for that shooter. Our second bet will be our first come bet. And there's another 7 out. I guess if we can roll a point and then a 7, we'd win $125 every second roll, every other roll. So let's try this again. 2 and a 3 win. Let's roll. There's a 6. So the puck's going to move to the 6. We have $100 against the 6. Let's go ahead and put our second bet for the shooter, our first $25 come bet. Okay, there's a 5. That come bet moves to the 5. Our second come bet, we'll place that in the come. Real quick, if a 7 hits here, these two $25 bets cancel each other. We'd win $100. It's an 8. That come bet moves to the 8. This will be our third and final come bet for this shooter. If a 7 rolls here, our come bet will offset one of our 5 or our 8. Let's say it offsets the 8. The 5 would lose 25. The don't pass would win 100. We would still net a $75 profit. Just like that. So this Hedgeless Horseman is a strategy that you would want to transition to if you started out playing a different strategy and you found yourself at a table that's hitting a lot of 0.7 outs or 0.1 roll, 7 out, 0.2 rolls, 7 out, even 0.3 rolls, 7 out. If you find yourself at that type of a table, this is the strategy that you'd want to transition over to. Okay, so I think that kind of helps me understand it a little bit better. Hopefully I played it close to that when I transitioned to it in my last session, but we're just at 21 rolls. We did roll a lot of 7s. We rolled 6 of them, and we still came out with a $375 profit. So I'm just going to call this a revisit of the Hedgeless Horseman, just so that I can understand that better. It's probably a strategy that I'm going to try to remember if I'm playing live or even bubble craps. If I'm starting to see a lot of 7 outs and 0.7 outs, I'd want to transition to this. So hope everyone's having a good day. It is Memorial Day weekend. I hope everyone stays safe, and we'll have another session here probably over the weekend. So as always, thanks for watching.